Bel Ribeiro-Addy.
Deputy Speaker, public services are on the verge of collapse. The gap between rich and poor has widened and we're slipping back into a Victorian area. Food bank usage at an all-time high and workers haven't had a decent pay rise in 15 years. But we're not here to talk about that today. In fact, we're barely here to talk about those things in any meaningful way. We are here to legislate on the dog-whistle fantasist policies of the party opposite, electioneering when they should be governing, not offering any real solutions to problems and attempting to divert attention from their own failings as a government, wasting the time of this House and squandering the goodwill of the people of this country. We keep going round and round on this matter. And our Supreme Court has ruled on this. It found Rwanda to be unsafe. This was based on evidence. Legislating the opposite is not going to rid us of the facts. This is not an exercise in parliamentary sovereignty. It's actually an abuse of this Parliament's functions. It undermines the rule of law and the constitutional separation of powers. Yes, we are lawmakers and we can make and change the law, but the law cannot be used to change the facts. And another fact is that this treaty with Rwanda, coupled with the bill, actually breaches many of our obligations under international law. And if we were in doubt in any way, the government has helpfully outlined this throughout the entire bill. Clause 3, for example, excludes the applications of key sections of the Human Rights Act. It directly prevents the courts from applying the bill in a way that is compatible with convention rights. It prevents any consideration of previous rulings from the European Court of Human Rights that have found Rwanda unsafe, and it removes human rights obligations from public bodies, including courts. This bill would place an obligation on every single decision maker that has found Rwanda unsafe to simply rule it as safe. It restricts the court's ability to protect people at risk of harm, and it restricts individual legal protections. Does the government fully understand what this means? Do they see how far they have sunk? That they are so fanatic about this flawed policy that they would bar courts from considering the very reasons that Rwanda might be unsafe, stripping people of individual legal protections. From its very outset, Mr Deputy Speaker, this bill is ridiculous. Honourable members opposite would do well to note that there is no more empire. International law is not whatever we say it is. It's comprised of agreements and treaties adopted by members of this House. To dismiss these as the rules of foreign courts is as irresponsible as it is untrue. We signed up to these solemn and binding rules, so this bill actually risks our international reputation and it makes us hypocrites. How dare we condemn other countries that do not uphold international law, and how dare we preach to them when we would undermine the rule of law? But this government doesn't really care for that. It cares more for the squabbles of its own party than our standing as a country. If this government were actually serious about resolving the issues surrounding small boats, they would actually do more to target people traffickers. They would provide safe and legal routes. People do not take these perilous journeys for fun. They are often fleeing some of the worst persecution. They are some of the most vulnerable people in the world, not the party opposite scapegoats. It's already been said today, but those who seek asylum from countries like Ukraine and Hong Kong don't have to come by unconventional means because the government has given them the ability to do so. So the government needs to stop misleading the public with its use of the word illegal, because seeking asylum in this country is not illegal. It's not against any of our laws, domestic or international, and it is the government that has exacerbated the asylum system, not the vulnerable people that are seeking asylum. And we know this because the vast majority of claims are justified. After lengthy delays, 3/4 of applications are accepted, and the longer these processes drag on, the longer refugees and asylum seekers are prevented from rebuilding their lives here in this country, working and contributing to our economy. This government has already spent hundreds of millions of pounds on a policy that is as crap as it is unworkable. And there is nothing... And there is nothing more telling than the fact that the Secretary of State has been unable to make a Section 19 statement. He could not say that this bill was compatible with the Convention on Human Rights. The Home Secretary means to take us all for fools. For the second time this year, he cannot say that his plans for removing asylum seekers to Rwanda will not break international law. The Rwandan government have been very clear. They have said they will not continue with this deal if it does not meet the highest standards of international law. This bill does not do this. This government is wasting our time. This is not going to work. And I'm not even sure it was meant to. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm sick and tired of being dragged through this House to approve legislation that does nothing to improve the lives of my constituents or uphold the values of our society. This bill should simply not be allowed to go any further. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm sure that when all members rush to read Hansard tomorrow, they will hear the word or read the word crass. Thank you. Thank you. Crass. And I'm sure Hansard have just taken a note of that.